Okay, do I tank a play rough from the Den is the real question. I don't know why they took so long to swap there. If I don't, I think I lose. Giratina, you monster! Wow, that's like literally a 1 HP situation. What the heck? Massive. Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to talk about the team I used to hit a legend this season. It's taking me a little longer than I usually do, but you know, some of the state of the game issues have taken some motivation out of me, but this team I'm about to show you is killing for me. Unfortunately, Fantasy Cup is coming to a close soon, so use this team while you can. But it does revolve around Giratina Origin, so not the most accessible Pokemon in Great League. However, you could run it with a Turtonator instead. In my opinion, I think Turtonator is a really great replacement. And then you have an Empoleon on the back with the Skarmory. I chose to run a Shadow Empoleon just because I like the damage, and it's hard. It's a little bit easier to farm down in bad matchups, so your opponents come out with a little bit less energy, which is nice. But the non-shadow Empoleon works great here as well if you don't have the shadow one, and even if you do, there's a lot of merit to running the non-shadow Empoleon as well, and then a Skarmory to close out one of the most, if not the most reliable counter to Flygon in this meta. I started using this team pretty much a day ago, 24 hours ago even, so just last night, which is why I didn't make this video any sooner, because I was kind of flip-flopping around teams. But I found that this is actually very, very strong in this meta, and these are my last 3 sets as I go towards hitting legend. Before we get into the battles, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to all my patrons who've been supporting my content creation. If you'd like private one-on-one coaching, scrims against me, some of my league guides and strategies ahead of time, or even tune into my live stream battles, feel free to sign up through the Patreon link down below. So Giratina Origin, as inaccessible as it may be, there's a decent amount of people that have it, especially in the higher elo ranges, so might be slightly correlated there. But against opposing Giratina Origin, I like to just throw a move right away, and it's not really worth going to the Shadow Ball, because if they let it go, you just Shadow Claw down. So if they do shield, I just swap out, I already lose Charge Attack priority, and then they come in with their own Empoleon. This could be a mirror match. I will say that it's not really a team I came up with myself. I saw a lot of people using it while I was running a separate team, and that's when I realized, I was like, hey, this team might be solid. Okay, so I'm going to let the Hydro Cannon go on mine. It looks like the Shadow one does come out on top, strangely enough. And we get to a crucial Hydro Cannon at the last second. That's very massive for me. And we grab the shield too. So it ends up being a mirror team. I think the only difference is my Empoleon was Shadow, theirs isn't. But like I said, that's not a huge difference, all things considered. And then I go for the Brave Bird here, which maybe a little bit overkill. I kind of forgot the health on their Giratina, but that's okay because we still have a shield, and 1 Shadow Ball is plenty of damage. Giratina's coverage is really, really nice because it has play into Skarmory, whereas Flygon does not. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. Shaggy's out of here. But anyway, so we face another Giratina Origin in our very next match, and this I'm showing you what happens if they choose not to shield. You can farm down. It's kind of my mistake. I was thinking that they're going to throw their move when I get to my Shadow Ball instead of right when they get to it. Unfortunately, I don't get to the move, so I'm kind of in a tough spot. I'm down 2 shields pretty early. I was able to grab 1 shield from them, but not quite enough. And then their Giratina still has a decent amount of health remaining. Getting that shield was nice, but I might be in a slightly tougher position now for the Skarmory. Yeah, so far, kind of a mirror match like the last one, at least in the first 2 matchups. Ends up not being a complete mirror match, but I would say overall, I just played that a lot worse than I did the first time around. But that being said, it is what it is. That's a mistake where I'm very okay with, because it's not necessarily a knock on the team, but it's very winnable if I played it better. Shadow Flygon in the lead. A lot of them like to bait, but sometimes they don't as well in that first matchup. So I tend to still shield just in case, because if you let that go, it could be pretty disastrous. I'm going to go for aggressive farm down with the Flash Cannon. It's not the end of the world, but looks like they don't. So I come up with quite a bit of energy. Flygon is pretty frail, so even though it paces faster than Giratina, you actually have a lot of play into it. And especially with the Shadow too, like they're probably going to shield. And honestly, even if they don't shield, this might be enough to take out anyway. Obviously not charge like priority because Flygon's going to win that. And they end up having their own Skarmory in the back. So it's not too bad for me. They have some energy on their Flygon. I have a slight energy lead against their Skarmory, and I still have a shield actually. That shield is actually pretty crucial. Something I noticed as well playing a lot of these Skarmory mirror matchups is, typically speaking, you don't want to throw Brave Bird right away, even if it's 0 shields. But it's actually better to throw the Sky Attack first, and then go for Brave Bird second. Otherwise, you just debuff yourself way too much. My opponent does throw a move here. I just barely survive it, and I get to my Omnus Win. Take him out. Oh, actually, no. They still have a shield. Okay, I do boost. But I have, I think I have a move or almost a move ready. Yeah, so I go for the Sky Attack to take out the Flygon. Flygon seems like kind of a tougher lead, but it's actually not too bad. There's a lot of neutral play into it, so I don't hate it. We catch a Turtonator lead. This is fantastic because it's exactly where you want to see it. And then I'm actually going to swap up to my Skarmory. I end up catching a Dragon Claw, which is nice. Not even necessary, but more so, it's good to leave with some extra energy just because there's no shots the Flygon flips this matchup. It's just such a polarizing matchup, which is why Skarmory is so relevant for various reasons, not only just for the Flygon sake, but also for fairies. And it's just overall really, really strong Pokemon outside of a few hard counter matchups like Magnezone and Registeel. Okay, so I whittle my health down as much as possible so to prevent this Turtonator from farming too much. Mainly because Turtonator with a big energy lead is kind of annoying for my Giratina. The Dragon Pulse does quite a bit of damage. I don't think it's enough to one-shot from full health, but it's still a decent amount. Okay, we grab, we take them out, and then they have a Feralthor in the back, and it's a little bit tricky. They don't shield, which is a little uncomfortable. I'm hoping to catch, like, I don't know what they could have been throwing at me. I mean, could have been Flash Cannon, could have been Power Whip. So they throw Power Whip here, which makes me think that there's a chance they have Flash Cannon, but I really can't. It's really hard for me to tell at this point in time because they could just be going for Power Whip because I have a shield remaining. But we do grab a shield from them, and oh, it looks like we got both shields from them, which is actually really nice. And wasn't charge attack priority, unfortunately. I thought it was. I think at this point, I'm just committed to maybe farming down here. Let's see what happens. All right, they do have Flash Cannon. I barely survived, though. And they're going to cut out right there. Yeah, so makes sense that they have Flash Cannon because they would otherwise probably would just thrown Thunder at the Empoleon. But yeah, barely winning that one. Shadow Magnezone in the lead. I find that most are in the lead, so having Giratina in the lead is pretty nice. They come in Skarmory. This is actually kind of a bad play by me. I probably should have just gone straight away to the Empoleon, but this does put it in within one Hydro Cannon range, so not too bad. I definitely can't shield the Brave Bird. Let's see if we can farm this all the way down. Yeah, okay. I throw on Charge Attack priority, which is actually better because I have back-to-back, and then if they shield, I grab a shield as well. And I have the other move too. I guess it's a little bit risky if they double shield and try to flip switch on me by just stealing me down, but they come in with the Azumarill, which is very nice because Azumarill, the Skarmory is pretty strong into it. Even the Hydro Pump variant, although Hydro Pump variant makes it a little bit harder. That being said, I'm going to let this go. I know I survived one Wild Charge if they do throw it, and if they don't throw it, then I definitely survived the Mirror Shot. But them throwing Wild Charge there is pretty bad because they debuff themselves and they're coming into like Shadow Claw and what do you call it? Steel Wing territory. We do have an Omnus Win here, which is nice. I think I'm debuffed, but honestly, any chip damage is pretty useful, and there's just not really a chance for them to get to like double Hydro Pump. Really, it's their only win condition. They have Ice Beam, so even better. We get the full Steel Wing down. And there we go, 4-1. That one game I lost, probably shouldn't have lost, or I could have played it better. So still feeling pretty good. That's my first set. Like I said, these are 3 sets in a row. So here is set number 2. Fantastic lead again. And this time my opponent is actually staying in, which is kind of interesting. So makes me think that they're ABA weak to the Giratina. Maybe they have an Escav or Lucario. I was trying to potentially catch a move here, but unfortunately wasn't able to. And they do go for the overheat, which is nice. And they come in Azumarill, actually, which is really good for me because this is arguably probably my best matchup against Azumarill. Skarmory's not bad, but resisting all the attacks on Empoleon is super nice. Obviously, if they have Hydro Pump, it gets a little bit less comfortable. Let's see how this plays out. I think I remember playing this kind of weird. Okay, yeah, so I lose Switch. But I think I don't... Yeah, I think I'm thinking that I'm pretty strong into their backline. They end up having a Gramble in the back. And I'm super confused for a number of reasons. One, I'm surprised they stayed in Turtonator into the Giratina. And two, why did they stay so long to take all the ceiling damage? I don't know, from the Skarmory. But that definitely is going to be helpful for me because now I just need to double up on my moves and then we should be good. I do have to burn a shield here, but I don't think the Gramble has a move yet. Yeah, they don't. And Magnezone should be plenty of damage. Honestly, if they swap straight away, I probably would have been a much tougher situation, but who knows? Maybe their switch timer was up. I don't think so. I think their switch timer should have been up, but I don't know. Maybe that was the case. Okay, Guzzlord's pretty bad. Resist everything this Giratina has. I mean, so do all dark types and normal types. So making it a particularly bad matchup. I have two decent answers to it in the back, but I do have to shield the crunch. Then the biggest my switch timer is not up either. And kind of an interesting swap by them to swap in a Skarmory. Yeah, very, very odd because Empoleon is probably like the hardest counter to this that I have on my team. But it's just a really strong counter in general. And they come in Skarmory, just go for a farm down just to get as much energy as possible, and they quit out. So I have no idea what they have in the back, but yeah, I don't know. Kind of a funky one. That being said, we have Haxorus. Haxorus is kind of like Flygon. The pacing is really, really fast, even if its fast attacks are resisted. I go for the Ominous Wind just because it's kind of like Flygon. It's super frail, and you can see, yeah, very, very frail. So I should get the full Shadow Call down after and avoid any extra damage. This is perfect. I could just pivot out. I draw the Azumarill, which is fantastic for me. Empoleon is going to do great into this. And then, of course, my Giratina has plenty of play into their Skarmory, as well as my own Skarmory. I'm down a shield, but honestly, that's not a huge deal. I will say this meta, in my opinion, is one of the best ones we've seen in quite a while. And it's because a lot of these Pokemon have play into each other. And it kind of reminds me a lot of Master League, but on like a Great League level, where, what do you call it? There's just so much neutral play, so there's not a ton of hard counter matchups, right? Obviously, Guzzlord into Giratina is pretty hard counter, but it's not super common this meta. Wigglytuff, you know, obviously is super hard counter to Giratina, but again, not as common this meta. Okay, Alolan Sandslash, not a great lead for sure. A lot of them like to bait on the first move, but it's kind of like Flygon. To no shield there is super risky because if it's just a drill run, then you just usually would just probably lose. Also, like my switch arm wouldn't be up, so it's just like it just puts me in a really tough position. So this is kind of weird because I don't really want to take damage on my Giratina. So I think the play here is maybe tank a move and then swap to my own Giratina. I think that might be my play. Let's see. No, I decided to go for this. Yeah, I decided to just take him out and see what happens. Okay, so they come in with the Alolan Sandslash, which throws me off a little bit. I think my play here is just to like take it out and then swap to Giratina and see what happens. If they have a Wigglytuff in the back, I just lose anyway, right? So there's not really too much worth stressing over. Ends up being Azumarill. Not too bad of a situation. Let me tell you, Giratina Origin is stupid busted, right? You're resisting the bubble damage, but also, I mean, even if that was a play rough, I survive it. But they went for the Ice Beam, which is even better for me. But yeah, so I was just calling their bait, I guess. But looking back on it, maybe I should have shielded it anyway, just for the safe play. Because I had a slight end. No, they had a slight end, one turn lead. Okay, we have Escavalier. Fantastic matchup for the Giratina, but the drill run does definitely hurt, even if the counters are resisted. So I'm gonna just shield here, just to try to take this out. They go Acid Spray, which is a little unfortunate, but that's okay. We're going to get double up to the Ominous Wind here. Acid Spray is the same amount of energy as drill run, I believe, so it wasn't like a cheaper move for them by any means. Okay, Turtonator. I don't want them to incinerate me down, so I'm going to just shield up here and just try to Steel Wing down. Energy on Empoleon is always pretty useful in my opinion, so this is not too bad for me. They do have Frosthorn, and if they have Thunder, this definitely makes the back-end matchup a little bit tougher. So this entry obviously didn't go that far, but that being said, we at least have the Turtonator pretty low at this point. And let's see if they have Thunder or not. I do recall that they do not, and yeah, they do not. So they have Flash Cannon, which is slightly better than Power Whip, but not that much better. So a lot of Frosthorn users kind of have to pick their poison in terms of what they want to run, because if they have Thunder, they're great into Skarmory, but way weaker into Dragons, and then, you know, Giratina specifically. We go 5-0. So we're on our final set. We only need 8 points, right? 4-1, 5-0. First one could have been a potential 5-0 too if I just played a little bit better. But we go into a Shadow Empoleon. It's one of those matchups where like the Omnus Wind is so good that you might as well just throw it straight away. And I think in this situation, I end up, just shielding and staying in. Typically, I think I throw a move and swap out, but in this scenario, because I boosted, like, I just get a lot from this, get to another move. We wouldn't switch, which is nice. You can see I was going to pivot over to Empoleon, but I said, you know what? Let me wait and see what it is. And luckily, I did not do that because they have a Escavalier in the back, and Skarmory's going to do fantastic into this. We'll see what they have as their third Pokemon. Obviously, if it's like Magnezone, I just lose, but given that they have Empoleon lead, like, it's just a little too weak, right, to the team. So we get a move off here. I actually don't even think the Sky Attack takes it out, but I should have thrown it a little bit sooner. And I'm going to swap over to my Empoleon, and they have their own Giratina. So it's an interesting situation. It's fairly neutral, I think, on both ends. I have to shield, but the good news is I wouldn't charge attack priority. So I'm going to throw this right away, and I think my opponent realizes that there's no chance they win this just because they get their move off second, and the Drop Peck just KOs after all that stealing damage. Okay, something really important to note is that if you look carefully, that Steelix has Thunder Fangs. Something I ran into at least once before. I ran into maybe 3 Steelix, and only one of them had Dragon Tail. So if they have Thunder Fangs, you want to actually stay in. Obviously, if Dragon Tail, you want to swap out. But Thunder Fangs is much better into my entire backline. It's actually probably built to counter Skarmory and Empoleon to a degree. But it's actually much worse than the Giratina. Steelix in general is actually pretty annoying for my team, just because even the Thunderfang variant, it has Crunch. Trying to go for the farm down, but my opponent does come in with a Thunderfangs instead to prevent that, which is a good play by them. And I'm just going to hard come in with the Giratina. Obviously, they can have Crunch. It's going to do a decent amount of damage. Breaking Swipe as well, so also another option, which they have. Both are super effective, though, so I pretty much have to respect whatever it is that they're throwing. Unlikely they're not running Crunch nor Breaking Swipe. But Breaking Swipe doesn't hit nearly as hard. Steelix is definitely on the bulkier end, so lower attack. Also, it's going to be Shadow variant. And they have a Wigglytuff Tough in the back, so worked out perfectly for me there. All right, I'm up 2 wins, I think, in this set. I need 1 more for probably the guaranteed 8 points that I need. So, pressure's on, because who knows, right? I could throw my last 2 sets. But, yeah, so we face another Alolan Sandslash team, which, generally speaking, a little bit tougher for me to deal with. I'm going to just double shield and see what happens. We're going down both shields. They went for another Ice Punch, which is kind of odd. But almost coming down to Steel Wing territory, but I do have to throw this beforehand, and they decided to let it go. So, this is super awkward because, you know, this Azumarill with energy is kind of annoying for my Giratina. I should swap straight over to my Giratina, though, because I'm thinking, all right, I need to do something here, right? And I don't have Switch, and I don't want to give this Azumarill too much energy. My guess is that their backline is probably actually kind of weak to Giratina because they had a Alolan Sandslash in the lead, and ends up being their own Giratina. This is really bad. They have a shield remaining as well. So I'm going to wait on my timer so that I could potentially go for a sack swap, but given that they still have a shield remaining, this is not looking too good, and their pacing's much better than me just because they have energy already, and they have a shield, and their move is just cheaper. So we have to make a miracle catch here, and we pull it off. I don't know how. I was freaking out, right? You can look at the timestamp. I was about at 3:22 in the morning, right? But this is the win I needed to hit Legend. Not for sure, but probably, right? So I'm 3-0 in the set. This is the next day, earlier today. Yeah, we're just gonna be in a different match, similar matchup as before Haxorus. I should have shielded. I kind of forgot how I played this matchup before, but I think shielding is the right call. And then I leave with a bunch of energy at least for the Haxorus later, but and we get the matchup we want, so not too bad. But I have no idea what's in the back. I'm hoping it's something that Skarmory could be good in, because Haxorus is kind of a soft check to that. Oh, I let it go. Okay, let's see if they shield or not. Because if they shield, they might flip switch, but honestly, Skarmory is not terrible into Haxorus, so we'll see. Okay, so we have back-to-back Ominous Wind. Oh, and they actually caught on their Skarmory. Okay, good play by them. But we have 2 shields apiece. They are ahead on energy. This is kind of a funky situation because the Haxorus has a decent amount of health left still. And yeah, me having the same shields is maybe not ideal. I'd probably rather have more health on my Giratina than anything else. But, you know, what can we do here? This makes a lot of sense. You have a Haxorus to counter Empoleon in the lead, so that Skarmory's kind of safer. Azuma could also draw it out, which is kind of what happened. Alright, so yeah, we probably go for Sealing Down. Okay, I throw a Sky Attack. I'm trying to go for a combo play here. Unfortunately, they thwarted it and they threw the Breaking Swipe right when I came in for the combo play, and I just don't have enough to Sealing Down. So we take our loss, first loss of the set, but overall still 3-1. I think I probably have Legend locked, but we'll see. 4-1 would make it nice. It's going to be a Goodra in the lead. Goodra / Dragon Breathers in general are pretty tough for the Giratina, so you usually want to swap out, right? The good news is that they're likely running Thunder Punch and Aqua Tail, so it's a little bit better for me. We do manage to actually potentially take out the Turtonator, but they're going to go for a shield. And I think what I want to do is go for a Peekaboo play, but my Switch Charm wasn't up yet. Dragon Pulse is going to do a lot of damage. So yeah, it's going to come through. A little unfortunate that I couldn't swap over to Skarmory to catch it, but that's okay. They do have a Goodra, and the thing is, Goodra with energy, again, it's not that scary for me, so I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball. See if I grab a shield or not from them. If I grab a shield, it's actually not too bad. We end up grabbing their final shield, and I'm just farming as much energy as possible. I'm kind of scared to have their own Skarmory in the back, because all this Thunder Punch damage is actually going to be pretty scary for me. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what they have. Ends up being Empoleon, so this is about as bad as it gets in terms of being countered on the Skarmory. So yeah, this one's pretty much GG's here. So we end up going only 3-2 in that final set, but I believe it's enough to hit it, and here we go. So 4-1 the first set, 5-0, 3-2 to close it out. For those that are still grinding for Legend themselves or the next rank and milestone they're looking for, best of luck on your journeys. We still have a month left of this season, so plenty of time still, and I think we still have like a gold battle week and everything too. As always, if you like this video, feel free to give it a like and share, subscribe for future content, hit that notification bell to get alerted right when I post a new video. If you don't have Giratina Origin, go find some in trades. I found mine through Campfire. So shout out Campfire, hope you have a good one, and peace out.